Jimmy, he grew up in the city. Young black kid, but this isn't your average inner city story. See, he had both parents at home, youngest of two brothers, and Jimmy never repped any colors, but his brother did. Jimmy was too busy running for scholarships. So while his older brother Darrell was riding the streets, he was running for touchdowns. His mom was a social worker. His father, former military, retired from the post office. And of course, growing up in the city, Jimmy had to handle himself with them cats on the streets. But he was 16 the first time he had a run-in with police. He was riding home from high school with a homeboy after football practice. A few blocks from the school, bumping music to unwind them, the driver hardly noticed a squad car pulled behind them. Don't even mind them. We ain't do nothing wrong, just a couple of high school kids on our way home. A few more blocks, the cops turned the lights on. Man, come on. See, Jimmy's first reaction was aggravation. He heard his father and brother talk about similar situations. The cops made them get out of the car and they patted them down, searched the car where they made them sit on the ground. Man, they kept them there for hours because they fit the description of some black kids that robbed a store on the other side of town. And after being talked down to, cussed at, and ridiculed, they were finally told they could go. And Jimmy, he felt a little hatred grow. See, his father told him about a time when some cops tried to plant some drugs in his ride. The only thing that saved him was he was military at the time. And his brother said that this harassment happens daily and that the boys in blue have nothing better to do than to flex their racist conviction. And he added that they fit the description, always seems to be their depiction. So when the news reported that another black man was killed in a questionable fashion by a cop, his reaction was Black lives don't matter. Just one more thing for a racist white cop to shatter. So he protested and marched to represent his father, his brother, and to express the anger that was building up in his heart. See, from his experience, it was open season on black folk without any chance of justice. And the only protecting and serving they do is in their own interest. That's the way he sees it. So that's the way it is. Let me tell you about James. He grew up in standard suburbia about 30 minutes outside that same city that Jimmy lived in. He and his sister were super tight despite him being 4 years older. She had blonde hair and blue eyes. His brown hair. So he was a decent wrestler through high school and was a neighborhood cool kid. He even hung out with the lone black kid in the neighborhood, Dewan. He was glad Dewan was cool and wasn't like those black hood kids that he hears about in the news. Low-life gangbangers that sell drugs and shoot each other. Things were getting bad in the city because of them. And his dad said it wasn't even safe to go down to the Arch because once it gets dark, those thugs like to start stuff without regard for other people's lives. James' uncle was a police officer and he would warn him about how dangerous those thug dudes were. And he was the first person that he ever heard use the N-word. His uncle said that for life these black dudes had no regard and that the police had to be hard and they always had to be on guard because these dudes would rather shoot than get behind bars. And then after James became a college grad, some of his friends donned the badge. James was even pulled over a couple times for driving too fast, but he laughed, joked, and name dropped, and those cops always gave him a pass. So to him, cops weren't that bad. I mean, they had a dangerous job and he respected that. So when the news reported that an unarmed black man was killed by police, he was first relieved that the cop was safe. And then when they showed the suspect's face, he looked like a dangerous thug dude and felt like he would do the same in that officer's place. So when the masses started marching and protesting and made it about race, he felt that their argument was out of place. When they started looting and burning down their own buildings, he thought to himself, they're no better than that dude that was killed. That's the way he sees it. So that's the way it is. So I have a question. What do you see? Is the glass half full or is it half empty? When something bad happens to me, is it my fault or society? Is my view reality or just my view? A vexed vantage point, vulnerable to votes violently vented into my vision, stemming from either a victim or a victor's view. My view. V-I-E-W. Vision interpreted exclusively by my witness. That's why I implore you to see things from my side. But it's funny how a side is never a feeling. Side dish, side piece always leaves you hungry. That's why I'll take my side and close my eyes and blindly side with anybody who sides my way, call it sideways. If there are two sides to every story, then how many facts are factored into my history? If your view differs from those of my circle, then you're a square, and I'll stand erect and tangle with those that try angles that are not parallel. Oh, grandmama taught me that those in the Pentagon and the Oval Office are shaped by building blocks different from mine. But what about the view of the one that put every shape in its place? If we don't see eye to eye, it may be based on our point of view. You see, my view shaped by my history. My view was shaped by my experiences. My view was shaped by my influences. My view was shaped by my culture. My view was shaped by my pain. My view was shaped by my victories. But what part of my view was shaped objectively? What part is shaped by the potter who sees things completely? What part of you speaks only after listening and studying intensely? When your feelings begin to fabricate non-fiction facts, do you go to the Father? Because he's the only one that can break it down. He breaks down the issue, he breaks down the problem, he breaks down the situation to the root cause and shows how you should react. Because some people base their reaction on the circumstances, and some people's circumstances are based on their reaction. So which came first? Or should I ask, who came first? Because this is about God and Satan's spiritual rebellion. See, our issues stem from intentional collateral damage from the enemy. So we battle emotionally and physically, but we suffer spiritually. We spend all this energy fighting a civil war while the devil loots and pillages everything that Jesus died for. The white church versus the black church. Conservatives versus liberals. The people versus the man. Yo, it doesn't matter what side we're fighting from because we're fighting blind. We've been fighting the wrong enemy the entire time. He wants division between you and I. So when situations arise, tell me, what do you see? So I ask you again, is the glass half full or half empty? Or is it even something that we should drink?